But what really struck me, however, is not what he said, which was not surprising given his rhetoric, but what he didn't say. The simple truth is that Donald Trump gave a major speech, the first speech of his second presidency, and ignored virtually every important issue facing the working families of this country. How crazy is that? Our healthcare system is broken, is dysfunctional, and it's wildly expensive. Not one word from Trump about how he is going to address the healthcare crisis. We pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more.
Bernie Sanders has spent his entire career in public service calling out corporate corruption and pushing back against special interest in dark money in our politics. And now, with the oligarchy forming around Donald Trump, Bernie is hammering home that message now more so than ever. And he did so in a video just shared to his own social media that is driving Donald Trump absolutely crazy, because Bernie is getting to the heart of what this administration is all about: making more money for the richest men in history in exchange for them giving over their information platforms to Donald Trump so he can muddy the waters, distract, and push forward his dangerous agenda. And we are going to get into all of that and the message that Bernie just went public with in just a second. But before we do, if I can quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this clip of Bernie Sanders.
I was at the Trump inauguration yesterday, and needless to say, I disagree with much of what he had to say. But what really struck me, however, is not what he said, which was not surprising given his rhetoric, but what he didn't say. The simple truth is that Donald Trump gave a major speech, the first speech of his second presidency, and ignored virtually every important issue facing the working families of this country. How crazy is that? Our healthcare system is broken, is dysfunctional, and it's wildly expensive. Not one word from Trump about how he is going to address the healthcare crisis. We pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more than the people in other countries. And 1 out of 4 Americans are unable to afford the prescriptions that their doctors prescribe. Not one word in his speech on the high cost of prescription drugs. We have 800,000 Americans who are homeless, and millions of people spending 50 or 60% of their limited income on housing. We have a major housing crisis in America. Everybody knows it. And Trump, in his inaugural address, did not devote one word to it. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had. The wealthiest 3 people in America now own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. But Trump had nothing to say, not one word, about the growing gap between the very rich and everybody else. And maybe, just maybe, that's because he had those 3 people, the 3 wealthiest people in our country, sitting right behind them at his inauguration. And I should add that those 3 people, if you can believe it, and this really is unbelievable, saw their wealth increase by more than $233 billion since the November elections. How's that? $233 billion increase in wealth for the 3 wealthiest people. No wonder they were sitting right behind Donald Trump at his inauguration.
Bernie has been driving home this message for decades, and it is now more important than ever. I am glad that he is using his platform and speaking directly to the people about what is happening around Donald Trump. I recently spoke to Senator Chris Murphy about this, how we can better term maybe oligarchy. isn't the word, I know it is an apt description, but how can we speak in language that better breaks through, that we can better communicate that Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos want to screw you over to put more money in their pockets and then use their giant platforms, their corporate corruption in our government to make you think it didn't happen, to lie to you and to shape the information that you're getting in a way that benefits them and their buddies the most. And that is what Bernie, of course, is continuing to say, and certainly did with a clip with Caitlin Collins right here.
For you to see those people, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, all sitting behind Trump yesterday, and not just behind him, but sitting next to his cabinet.
Well, Caitlin, as you may know, I have been talking about my fears as how the United States is moving rapidly toward an oligarchic form of society. And anybody who was in the room or on TV and saw the President of the United States surrounded by the three wealthiest people in this country, one of whom made hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign contributions to him, at the same time when we have more concentration of ownership than we have ever had. The conclusion I hope that most people reach is that we are moving toward an oligarchy. We have got to fight back. We've got to protect our democracy. We need an economy that works for all, not just the people on top.
What would you say to Trump supporters or people who saw Elon Musk and them sitting there and thought, that's cool, these are people who have done a lot for the United States or an innovation, and said, actually, it's not such a bad thing that people should be criticizing? What would you say to that?
We will see how it plays out. But I think, Trump campaigned for president saying, I'm going to be a candidate of the working class of this country, right? Well, we will see if he addresses the healthcare crisis. We will see if he, in fact, is prepared to take on big pharma and lower the cost of prescription drugs. And certainly on issues like raising the minimum wage to a living wage, he's not going to be anywhere near where we have to be. In terms of housing, he's not going to do what has to be done. And the one thing he did say in terms of major issues facing our country is, in a sense, he talked about climate change. He said, drill, baby, drill. So at a time when we have had the 10 warmest years on record, last 10 years, when we have seen natural disasters in Los Angeles right now all over the world, what he says, hey, I'm going to make a horrific situation even worse, drilling for more oil, more carbon emissions. So bottom line here is, I think as Americans, we've got to appreciate what's going on in the country. We're moving toward oligarchy. 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Millions work for starvation wages. We need a government that works for all, not just for Elon Musk. We will see what happens. Well,
Elon Musk, he was not just there at the inauguration and obviously is playing a pretty big role in this administration. I saw him going into the West Wing yesterday. He's getting office space on the White House grounds. You voted against that law forcing TikTok to sell from its parent company, ByteDance. You didn't believe it was the right way to handle that. But when Trump says he would be okay if Elon Musk tried to buy TikTok.
Well, this is what oligarchy is about. You have Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Mr. Musk already owns Twitter. You have other billionaires owning the major media outlets in this country. CNN, if you look at who owns them, you're looking at large Wall Street firms. So you already have a major, serious problem in terms of ownership of the media. If Musk ends up owning TikTok, it'll only make a bad situation much worse.
I am always going to want more of this messaging from Bernie Sanders, and he is certainly delivering it, and I'd like to see more of it from every single Democratic politician, and of course, doing so not just on the traditional platforms, not just going on CNN or MSNBC, but building your own platform and helping all of those of us online right now, doing the same. We need to combat the right-wing ecosystem. It is complete dominant in the media. Fox is the most watched TV outlet, most watched news outlets. Joe Rogan has the biggest voice in podcasting up there, with Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, The Daily Wire. Donald Trump has all of these major platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, under his thumb. We need to push back. It's what we're doing on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you soon.